I wanted to point out something that maybe we'll see the Olaf again, but this time around we get the Lillia. I feel like I haven't seen Lillia a lot here recently.
Yeah, this is the first time that we're going to actually see aiming back onto the Tristana. So he has turned the corner, or else it also could be Tristana mid lane, AD plus AP. That is potentially what they could go for. But I like the draft overall here from BLG. So far what WE has tended to draft is a very early Thresh pick, and they flex between Aphelios or Jinx. So taking that Thresh off the table means that Aphelios is going to be a lot weaker. It's much harder to play this matchup without the Dark Passage. He has no escape himself.
Yeah.
And I do think you have to go Alistar. Okay, there he goes. You have to go for that defensive support.
Gotta find some of that engage, some of that peel back potential for them. And I was gonna say I would like to see BLG go ahead and pick up some more of their engage potentially, save those last couple picks here for the solo lanes, but maybe they'll just go ahead and get some solo lane pressure here for themselves. And that's what I would find as it's going to be the Camille that gets locked in. Something we haven't seen a lot of recently because it's been banned all the time, but it's going to be there for BiuBiu.
Yeah, this is kind of BiuBiu's style. He likes to play fighters very early on into the draft, and we should expect the Renekton. Okay, there's the ban out. The other interesting one is actually the Jax. This is something that Breathe has played in the past, and in the recent patches, it's been buffed quite a bit. So that has been a sort of classical Camille counter that has been lurking in the shadows. And I wonder if we might see it today. I'd be very excited if we get the Jax back.
It would be really fun. I always love watching people die to the lamppost, but we'll see if we can get to that point. We did have more focus here from Team WE on Zeka, though, taking away his Galio, so no more roaming in that potential. A lot of his tools taken away, that TF, the Silas, the Galio. So Team WE definitely know where to focus. Those top lane bans coming in for BLG, they take away the Gnar and that Renekton that we talked about earlier, but just trying to set BiuBiu up with this Camille in the early parts of the game. The Orianna is the last ban from WE, so even more focus towards Zeka here, as we know who they want.
Yeah, I think you're going to see Zeka hold on to the last pick. And Zeka has been someone that's willing to go for rather crazy picks. We have seen the Akali from him. We have seen the Echo against the Azir from him as well. So he definitely has a pocket full of champions that he could go out if he just sees a standard control mage. And I think that's what WE are most afraid of. This has kind of been their weakest spot is Shanks in the laning phase. Even someone like Jiumeng was able to dominate him quite heavily. And whoa, we are going to go for some interesting matchups here. I love that. Fiora having a great time against Camille because of that hookshot being very, very telegraphed.
Yep. Oh man, that's so exciting. We were talking about gauntlets being thrown down in game number 1. We get the Fiora Camille matchup in this one. I feel like that's a gauntlet of its own. As I'm really, really interested to see how that matchup goes down. Especially, we talked about it earlier, right? There could be a potential for some snowball in the top lane. And now we got champions that can't snowball, can't get that pressure in. I did really like the Rell pickup, though, for BLG. They get a little bit of that initiation, a little bit of that engage. Especially a good tool to use with the Tristana in the bot lane. Try and keep some of that priority. Try and keep some of that tankiness down there. The Ryze actually came through for Shanks, so a little bit more of that damage in the late game for him. A little bit more of the focus we talked about the whole time. But Zoe is going to be the last pick, and it's going to go over to Zeka.
Just something that can snowball in the early game once more. This is what you expect out of BLG, and we're finally going to get Aiming's debut on the Tristana. I always felt like this was a champion that I was a little bit surprised they didn't go for, because it's such a strong 2v2 snowballing pick. If you get ahead of Tristana, you can easily take that advantage across the map.
We just saw it happen.
Yeah, it's so easy to execute. You get ahead, you strip those towers down, you're really, really strong. WE going for a 1-3-1 comp. In the late game, there's so many different ways they can play through this. I do think they have the scaling advantage. While on the other side, I think you do have this composition that has very strong engage in the bottom. They should have early prio in the mid lane with Zeka's Zoe against the Ryze. So I want to see them take that into the bottom lane, set that up with the rocket jump plus crash down, crowd control, and also the hookshot coming in from top lane. This is a very bottom side focused draft. It's exactly what we've seen from BLG, but they do need to get the ball rolling early.
They do. They literally have to. And that's where maybe we look at those objective controls that priority developed in bot lane to lead into those dragons, or maybe some lane swaps coming out, especially that like we saw in the first couple games between some wonderful gamers, as there was a lot of that great macro play, and I'm hoping to see some of that here, especially as BLG. We've talked a little bit about that early game aggression, trying to get their snowball going if possible, and you definitely don't want to get into those team fight situations later on with W when they have a composition like this.
Yeah, WE's team comp, if it goes to the late game, it's so damn powerful. I definitely still favor their composition. It's not really a standard 5v5 team fight composition.
Yeah, no.
But the honest truth is W doesn't even go for those these days. They just say, Breathe, you take a carry, we will kill them with your gore drinker. That's enough tankiness.
You love to see it. We'll have to see it all pans out as we're kicking off game number 1. My God, look at that skybox. You gotta love it. WE versus BLG hitting the rift right now. Ooh, we get to see a little bit of the runes. I was hoping to get some of those Jaios in, but maybe not yet. As we are just getting a nice little bit of information here for us, Clement, as it doesn't look like anything's too crazy off the start here.
And both of them going for Grasp in the top lane. This has been much more of the sort of common build going on. Recently, we did see another buff for Fiora. She has been constantly nonstop buffed. The
Don't tell me that, Clement. Don't tell me that.
It's pretty crazy how many buffs that Fiora has gotten. But it's just kind of the fact that Split Push has been gone for the meta for quite a while, and Riot does want alternative methods to kind of close out the game. So they are just giving Fiora a bit more love. She now does even more damage on those vital procs from 2.5% now up to 3%. And we're going to see J-Way go straight in.
Early advantage, early pressure. The Satchel Charge is going to do a decent amount of damage to Missing. But I will say we will get the opposite side. At least pathing from both junglers. Meteor did start his chickens. We'll start on his top side of the jungle, so maybe leaning down towards that bot side. Meanwhile, the other side of it, Beishang maybe looking to take down BiuBiu up here.
Yeah, really well done by Breathe. Actually dodges out on the tactical sweep completely. And this is a matchup that's definitely favored towards the Fiora in the late game. Hextech Ultimatum versus that Grand Challenge is... It really is very different. One is a solo tool and the other is a catch tool. So you definitely expect Fiora to kind of win out in that matchup into the late game. BLG, they have to use the different aspects coming in from this Camille, mainly the catch, to make their composition work.
So you're telling me that the Legends of Runeterra rules don't work for Fiora? You kill 4 people and you win the game? What is this? Why not?
Well, it's kind of different. If you can kill 4 people before 15 minutes, then yes, you still win the game.
You still win the game. The Legends of Runeterra rules still apply. It's fine.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I hate playing against Fiora decks, but you know,
me too.
Alternate win conditions. This is something that we have seen from WE quite a lot, and it's interesting to see them kind of not even facing a team that even punishes them. Usually when you think about a squad that runs triple carries in all 3 lanes, you think that they might have a pretty weak early game, but Beishang has just been able to buffer them up and keep all of their lanes from actually falling down, and that's why they're able to run it. No strong side, weak side, strong side all the time.
Oh no. Breathe and Beishang. Oh, we got the TP coming in from Zeka. Is it going to be too little too late? Taking up the tower here though. They've got it a little bit juggled. That's going to be the trade kill back and
double buff
forth as we get one here. I want to see Zeka take this one. Breathe has a minion wave on his back. The flash there for Zeka, and Zeka gets a double kill to start us off.
Absolute disaster for WE. The only person you don't... Oh, wait a minute.
They've got the Gravitum, they've got the CC. Missing goes down. There's the rocket jump, though. Can he get it? Aiming, flashes away. He double thinks his thoughts there and doesn't want to engage. Do they find it? The Gravitum gonna get the root down. The damage there. One more shot, and Jiumeng will get the kill.
Really well played on that part. Aiming actually goes a little bit too deep, realizes he can't actually get the reset and has to flash out it immediately. W just chase onto that one. However, I will say this point in Zeka is still massive. Having the Zoe get 2 kills early, double buff in lane, and come back with the boots of Lucidity, it is crazy strong. You get the extra cooldown on the flash as well, and that's just so much extra room to play around. Breathe doesn't have his flash in lane, and I like this from Meteor. He's just making sure that his top laner can push this in and get the reset safely.
And just a heads up play there by Zeka, able to get up to that top side as quickly as possible. I think we're going to take a look at actually the bot lane fight and see a little bit of that hesitation from Amy.
Yeah, a really good stop from Missing, gets J-Way in mid-air, and let's just watch aiming and what really prompted him to go back in. I think it was Missing actually trying to bait him out. He goes a little bit forward. Amy can't resist.
The Gravitum's double root right there was huge on the back, and then they think they're overextended.
Yeah, he even lands the hop, but it's just not enough damage at that point. He doesn't have the explosive charge anymore, and he has to flash out immediately. So a bit of miscalculation, and good job by W to pick that one up.
Great plays early on, and at least BLG are able to find some of those advantages we were talking about. And yes, we're saying that, you know, WE, they like to get to the later game with this composition. They have a very strong 1-3-1. But if BLG can up this momentum and up that pressure, they can have so much to their advantage. And we see that now, transitioning that early advantage into a first dragon for BLG.
This mainly coming out of mid lane prio. We see all the minion dematerializers already used by Zeka. He has that 2-0 lead and even picks up an Everfrost from the lane itself. Even without redemption, Zoe can be absolutely ridiculous. He's able to get that going. And this is kind of the continuation of the play that we should expect just happening over and over again. For BLG to just try to shove in that lane. And they do have a very strong kill potential. What I do want to mention about BLG's comp is they're really great at chasing down kills. If you have a fight where both sides lose 2 members, then BLG will able to snowball it to a finish. You have Zoe that can pick up extra summoners, and then resets coming in from Tristana. So whenever W think about an engage, they have to be very decisive. It has to be a strong win, or else it could just turn into a complete snowball.
I wonder if that's where we start seeing maybe some of these realm warps coming out from the mid lane, trying to get into the side lanes or things like that. We did see Breathe come down and try to get something onto Zeka while he had a little bit of time, but wasn't able to get the angle that they wanted, so it has to just go back up top. And that means that, you know, you're getting a bit of pressure relief for BLG at least. There's some plays trying to be developed by WE, but they're not coming up.
Yeah, WE right now, I still think they're in their farming phase. If you look at the CS leads that top lane has had, Breathe, even with the losses, have been very consistently ahead, coming up against BiuBiu, as is to be expected in that matchup for sure. But that's going to be a strong point for them, and I think they can honestly just sit back. The only thing they're afraid about is getting this bot lane completely collapsed upon. So as long as they ward well here, I think they're fine and they're happy to drag it out.
I do see Jiumeng down there with the Crescendum Severum combo. Very, very deadly, but Meteor wants to make a show up anyways, maybe. They actually go all the way in with aiming jumping in. Satchel Charge isn't going to get all the procs left on it, and it actually looks like WE, off the back of a very overzealous play by BLG and Amy, they will not die in the bot lane, and WE will start this Rift Herald. Actually, looks like they're going to pull off of it.
Really good vision coming in from the side of WE. They saw the Lillia coming down, so actually it was probably Blast Cone. No, never mind. They didn't see her directly off of the brush, but they still reacted that perfectly. Get out of it. And I like this caution coming out from WE. Even though the jungler's not there, you still have a 2-0-0 Zoe. So yeah, it's kind of understandable, even given Breeze's position in the lane, that they're not willing to all in onto that one.
And it's BLG really heavily going towards this mid lane advantage, right? They've left aiming down on the bot side. Now they're going for this fight onto Beishang. He has the flash over the wall from the Lilting Lullaby, though, so he'll get out. But this Rift Herald is still being started up, still being taken down by BLG. It's going to reset, though.
Yeah, I don't think either side really wants to full commit to this one, especially without knowing where the bot lane is. There's a really strong possibility that Missing could be on the scene already. So you see BLG, both of them just kind of posturing over, and finally WE, with that vision advantage, knowing J-Way. I don't think J-Way understands this, but every move he makes is completely spotted out. So W gets a huge tempo advantage.
Oh my god, Zeka just getting Moonlight Vigil used on him in mid lane because he wanted to. Why not? But I love this from WE. They're moving up towards this Rift Herald. They're bringing their entire team, you know, bringing Jiumeng to mid lane, try to get some of that farm. Yes, they are leaving aiming down towards the bot side all by his lonesome, but you see that Jiumeng has had a really nice lead already developed for himself.
This is just vision advantage coming out from WE's side. Knowing when the Rell is actually going to retreat, they still have eyes on her as she passed over.
That's so rough, man. That is so rough.
It is.
He spent so much time trying to set it up, too.
He doesn't get the kill onto the top lane, and that's just the Herald gone. So where I do expect the Herald to go this time around is into the top side. I feel like in a split pushing matchup, you do want the Fiora to just get her items as soon as possible. We are seeing some interesting builds coming out here. It looks like an early Ravenous build. Not something that we have seen a lot out of the Fioras.
You're just trying to index more into that split lane that's sustained there with the fight. Uh-oh, aiming does have the rocket jump. It's just CC chained. They're grabbing to him. I don't know if he can get out of this one. He's going to burn down to death. You have the TP coming in now from BiuBiu. Can he get the hook shot? Doesn't hit it, but he still gets the kill. And Jiumeng going to go down as well. You do have missing all by his lonesome against 3 members, and that means that BLG will get another kill and a double for themselves.
Not exactly the person they wanted to use as bait, but nonetheless, I would still say this is decently successful for them. They get the kill onto the bot side, and I think getting the tower is actually really important because we have talked about what they want to do is they just want to split push, not split push, but siege with aiming and advantage coming out for him. We do have to call out that was kind of a bad flash from Jiumeng. There was no way that he was going to survive for that one. There's no reason to use that. And in the meantime, WE, as we mentioned, they do try to continue to further the lead onto Blue.
Look at the big brain play coming out from Shanks, though. Just roam it up to help Beishang get to the top side, set down that Rift Herald, take the tower, and then right back to the mid lane to keep on farming up against Zeka. I like the teamwork, and teamwork makes the dream work, Clement.
Yeah, that's how the saying goes. A really good realm warp. I always like these like micro realm warps where it's not a massive sort of like catch play that you're doing on the map, but it's something that gets you tempo advantage.
Oh no, I thought maybe they were going to commit, but they already got the TP coming in. Breathe is right here, and unfortunately that means BLG looks like they want to pull off. Meteor's already completely gone for the tower. They're just going to leave BiuBiu here to try and sack some of that pressure, but it actually looks like WE might be staying around here. BLG as well staying around. They've got a couple more members coming as well. BiuBiu goes in for a little bit of an engagement, but that's going to be the headbutt pulverize used right back to him. Here comes the sleepy trouble bubble. Going to land right onto him. Can they get the damage back, though? Jiumeng is still alive, and that's going to be the challenge used as well. Look at all that healing in WE's. Composition is starting to come online here for themselves.
Severum OP. That was a picture-perfect sleepy trouble bubble coming in from the Zoe, but it's not enough. They don't have the follow-up damage to kill. And this was such a smart play from WE. They just rotate their entire pressure from the top lane into the bot side. They have that extra TP advantage. They're willing to use it. And just looking at the builds, this has not only accelerated Fiora, but right now Aphelios is actually decently ahead as well. BLG don't have that sieging pressure anymore.
Said early advantages are going to be key to the game. They got some early advantages, but they haven't been able to do too much with it. And WE's map movements have been great, and that's what we were talking a little bit more about in the draft and a little bit before that, is how that movement will be key here, especially when WE are playing this 1-3-1, are playing this split push composition, how that kind of works out for them into the mid game. And we're at 13.5 minutes in now, right? We have an Infernal Dragon that's going to be on the Rift here in 3 minutes. Potentially putting BLG at soul point. So this is where WE need to use some of that advantage, use some of that pressure they gained. And yes, they're farming up, trying to get a little bit more items before that fight, but I would like to see them still keep up that vision game.
Yeah, that's very important coming in from for both teams really, but BLG especially, because they need to get those picks to kind of get back into the game. What you're going to see a lot in the later phases is Zeka roaming to one of these side lanes, just trying to get a pick onto a split pusher, and then trying to come back at the same time into mid lane. So getting that vision, super important from them. We're already seeing the side lanes sort of develop for WE, and for BLG, their best bet is just try not to get both side lanes across river. Once both side lanes are across river, it's almost impossible not to take chip damage, and you want to rotate as quick as possible to sort of cut that off.
I do like the turret play gold, pretty split evenly among both teams, getting a lot of wins out in the early game, at least trying to get some more of that gold, and not too far behind our BLG right now from WE, and that feels really good. Not as good as it would feel to have a giant snowball in your court, but at least they have some advantages, and especially on Zeka. I know we've highlighted him a lot so far. He's 2-0 in the Zoe. Hasn't gotten anything more than that early blood, but still has a lot of farm, has a lot of strength there in the Zoe in that poke game.
Yeah, if he can just find Jiumeng once, he doesn't have his summoners now, so there's a decent chance for them to just try to go all in. Against the 1-3-1, there's typically two ways you play it. You either 5-man siege down mid, or you try to do very quick rotations from the side lanes after a pick. And we're kind of seeing both develop right now. Because Zoe has that primacy with her double summoners against 0 summoners on Jiumeng, he's able to leave, get that push wave, get that wave pushed up, and now they're trying to punish the top side.
Starting to get a little worried about the bot side, though, Clement. So Breathe is starting to take a very commanding lead in this split lane, and having all that sustain is just going to be hard for BiuBiu and Co to handle. And so you see that their immediate focus is trying to get things across the map, trying not to let that Fiora get as much as they are from in another perspective. But with the Rift Herald being spawned now, I wonder how we see that transition and how we see that vision from either side kind of move around that area.
Yeah, I think BLG can try to drag this out just a little bit more. Their TP is almost up. So if they continue to push mid, I feel like W actually have a hard time just all-inning on the Herald. Indeed, they're not trying to go for it completely. They probably want Breathe to actually rotate there. His wave is in a decent position where he can still get there if he wants to, just by foot. But we're going to have stacked objectives coming up. Infernal Drake is also here, and I think Infernal is slightly more important to both teams at this juncture. Herald right now, I don't think is particularly important for either team. You're not really going to get silent split push advantage for BLG, and for WE, you can only drop it mid. So probably both teams are going to index into Infernal just a bit more, and this is BLG's chance, honestly. BLG do have that sort of red side cubby to play around, especially around the blue ramp, like we're seeing right here, and this is a golden spot for Zoe's.
Yeah, you're already seeing a lot of that siege come down. There's the grappling going to land on Zeka. It does pop the cleanse. They get the re-engagement here, though. The damage is there for BLG. Aiming is untouched in the side. Not able to get the resets, but still getting the rocket jump forward. Breathe is going to go down. That is a big kill going over, but look at Jiumeng. Can he take the T5? He's dead! Zeka gets the kill. There's the Rell warp, but you are way too much to handle as BLG continue to move forward, continue to chase down those kills that we said were so easy for them to do, and that is another double kill for Zeka.
Great play coming out from J-Way, just punishing W overextended. Whenever we see a dragon fight around that red side, that banana brush is always the most deadly sieging position. It's very easy to pink that spot and just stay out of vision. So W overextend up the ramp, and they get punished hard. Breathe goes in, doesn't get the kill, and gives over all the resets.
That feels so bad. I loved Aiming's positioning in that. Everyone was so committed to the giant clump of people, and Aiming was just on the side there having a great time on this Tristana. But I thought Jiumeng was going to be able to turn that one around. He had some great setup for himself, but then he just gets engaged on. There's nothing really you can do about that once you're in melee range of a bunch of people that are trying to kill you. But Beishang is going to start up this Rift Herald. Finally, maybe we'll see this go over, as they do not have a response from the side of BLG at this time.
It's really funny about WE's compositions. They love to run a bunch of carries on their team, and this is a comp that works really well when you're ahead. You have that extra economy coming in from the enemy jungle to allow you to play this way, but when you're behind, this is a completely different comp. When you're behind, everyone gets very far behind, especially the jungler. So we're going to see how they actually cope with this one, and just going back into the team fight, a little bit of an overextend from the front line of WE, and especially from... Yeah, the Magnet Storm was massive, and especially from Breathe. I feel like, of course, he was caught by the Hextech Ultimatum in a bad position, and this is a concept that a lot of LPL teams use. It's called, in Chinese, it's called 残局, which means your ability to clean up team fights. A lot of champions have extra abilities in terms of resets or chase down potential, and I think it's a concept that people don't really use in LCS or LEC, but it's actually very, very common in the LPL for teams to think about building compositions that can snowball off of a single fight or a single pick. And you get that in spades with Zoe.
Yeah, you do. And even a couple more pieces to boot. You've got the chase down with the Camille. You've got the chase down with the Tristana. There's a lot of going forward right now for BLG, and so far so good, right? You've taken a couple wonky fights, but in that one in particular, you're able to outposition and out execute WE in a team fight. Not necessarily that they wanted to go for that, but still BLG able to go on that moment, take care of that fight, and now they've got to defend against the Rift Herald mid lane, Clement, because they've got a big siege, but Zeka is still popping shots. He's got the Horizon focus now completed, so those long shots are going to be doing a long damage.
Yeah, I don't see how W actually are able to get this next Drake. They can go onto the Drake first, but BLG still has the option to even just poke them out. So even if they rush the Drake and get into position first, they might not be able to walk away alive. I think it's very difficult for W to get this one, and it's also an Infernal Drake. It's the worst one possible.
But do you just give over the Infernal? Like, I feel like that's not the play, right? You need to try to make something happen in that fact, because the side lane, yes, you've got BiuBiu pretty held down right now by Breathe, but you give him that Infernal Soul, it's going to feel a little bit better at least.
I think you almost have to play for steal here. I don't think teamfight at this point is actually a viable option. It might sound weird given like their gold difference, but it's just the fact that Zoe can poke you out so heavily that it's really hard unless you can just like take it down in an instant. And honestly, in terms of a 1-3-1 comp, you still have conditions to come back in the later phases of the game. This is a really weird call, but I feel like you have to be super non-committal from WE's side playing into this Dragon Soul.
Well, you got about a minute and a half to set up for this, and they've already brought some members down here. They're already getting some vision down here, trying to get the priority in mid lane by Jiumeng, but they've caught out BiuBiu here. He's going to use the Hectex ultimatum. There's the TP coming in as well from Shanks. They get over the wall, but he flashes. He's going to get the kill, and that's going to be the Lilty Lullaby also used on the back end of it. Paddlestar actually doesn't connect the damage that they wanted to. Aiming was roaming, was available, but WE get a kill away, and it's BiuBiu that went down.
That's absolutely massive. That's going to give WE just bottom side control throughout the entirety of the Dragon. We still have 20 seconds until that BiuBiu respawn, and that's enough time for W to honestly just set up vision around here and even get a safe recall. So they're all inning onto this next Dragon fight. Everyone is going back at the same time. They just want to make sure they have spent all their gold for this one. Now, I think for BLG, the way they can play this is especially just getting vision onto the back of a red side. That is going to be a great point for you to just poke out the enemy team. I like this from W as well, just making sure that one is pinged. For BLG, they can play this super slow. Just make sure you get as many rotations in as possible. Just play like that, exactly what you want to do. It actually doesn't matter if W are on the Dragon first. You can very easily clean up this teamfight composition and just go for the pick after the pick.
I was going to say, Beishang almost finished that back. He needed to stay in the fight, but here we go with the re-engagement. That's the Magnet Storm into the back line, though, but J-Way is getting very low. There's the headbutt pulverize, and it's chaos all over. But we got Rocket Resets coming in for Aiming, who was, again, untouched in the fight, and that is a full-on ace for BLG.
Goodbye, WE. Not a single member surviving, and this should be BLG looking at the Baron at the same time. A very strong win from them. Once again, I said it was super hard for WE to actually clear any of this vision. Even missing was getting chunked down to half health with how fed Zeka was on this Zoe, and they just can't approach. They try to get into the river, they take 2 rotations from Zeka, and BLG pulls the trigger. It's all in time. J-Way finds the perfect engage up the ramp. Lots of BLG members, lots of W members going down, and it's reset city for Amy.
And BLG with the plays here, Clement. We got a 5-0-5 Zoe. We got Tristana popping off in the fights. The team comp is coming together, and I absolutely love it. And I have to say, it was a bit of a interesting call there, at least from WE. You had Beishang backing to try to get that back in before the Dragon fight, but WE were in position to get engaged on.
Yeah, like Beishang didn't really have a choice. He was already at half health just with 1 rotation, and watch J-Way as he goes straight in onto the back line. Jiumeng cleanse flash and still dies instantly with that one. And look at how many summoners there is for Zoe to pick this up. It's just a playground for her right now to pick things away. So once again, I actually felt like BLG, I'm not sure that was the correct play. Even though they weren't that far behind in gold, because Zeka was so powerful on the map, I almost felt like they had to just go for a steal. But play super non-committal. They went in, they tried to protect the ramp. Jiumeng loses all his summoners, and it's an absolute disaster from there.
And I love it from BLG. Keep that pace up. Keep that tempo up. They're keeping the Baron up too. They're going to be taking a tier 2 tower, looking at the tier 2 in bot lane. They do need to deal with Shanks in the top lane a little bit at some point, maybe. I was going to say somebody's got him back at this point, right? But they are going to help get that second tier tower, and they're going to get the response to top lane as well.
Yeah, and right now Shanks actually has to run. He doesn't have his flash. BiuBiu is coming in. If he doesn't get out in time, he might even actually die here.
Oh, he hits everything. That's going to be a lot of damage, but he's got a lot back. And Breathe is here now, too. Pop the grand challenge. And Zeka is able to help in their base. I don't know, though. This is very split. You've got two. Actually, okay. Shanks is backing now, but their base is in tatters. This could just be it, Clement. They take down a couple members. Now that Shanks is here, maybe they have some sort of defense. The Moonlight Vigil going to be dodged out by Zeka going golden, and the towers are down. The Nexus is bare, but can BLG finish it off here? They look like they want to. They're getting jumps in from aiming. They're getting attacked by everybody that WE has left, but it doesn't matter. The rocket jump's gonna reset, and the game is gonna go over. WE needs something to happen here because BLG have come to fight.
BLG are keeping their sights on the prize. This is a team that wants to make it to playoffs. We did not expect this much of a comeback win from BLG, but they pull it off. One macro mistake from WE, trying to go overboard into the top lane, and BLG just punished it to the maximum. They're like, oh, both of your solo lanes are no longer here. You know what? We're just going to walk straight in with the nuclear option and just finish off with Zoe.
God, I can't believe how quickly they pushed it off. I thought maybe they were going to fall for that top lane, the double up there with Shanks and trying to get the tower down, trying to get that inhib. But, you know, all the time that they spent up there being able to take down BiuBiu didn't matter. And then you still have a Tristana, you still have all these strengths in the team fight that they had together, and they were able to capitalize on that moment, that play that Team WE tried to make there. And I love that BLG just stuck with what they knew would work.
Yeah, really beautiful from BLG game plan. This is what WE's main challenge is going to be. Can they stop enemy mid laners from snowballing? It's the second series we have seen where the enemy's mid laner just runs away with an advantage. Yeah. And W are honestly running out of bans. Think about how many different bans they threw at that mid laner. It was Orianna, Twisted Fate, and Silas, plus the Galio. So they threw 4 bans at Zeka, and Zeka still demolished them. This is going to be a really difficult answer for them to look for on WE's side.
And because, we set up in this that, WE get the 1-1. They're looking to scale in the later game. They're trying to get these kind of pieces set up for themselves for the later parts of the series or later parts of the game. BLG said, nah, we're going for the objectives, we're going for the fights, and we're taking it to you. And that's what I wanted to see out of BLG. I wanted to see that aggression come out. I especially wanted to see Meteor be able to pop off. And we see with the end and the gold graph there, Clement, this was an interesting game to say the least.
Oh, I feel so bad for WE. It really was that one mistake at the third Drake where they funnel into a chokehold, and BLG just picked them off one by one. This is not a composition.
896 damage. Oh my god. That's a feels bad, man. That is a feels bad.
Well, I guess Meteor is gonna have his day. He out damages his peers by a factor a power of 10. A factor of 10. That's Meteor coming back out on top. Remember who's rookie of the split, Beishang? It was me.
Oh man, that's gotta be a nice confidence booster for Meteor, especially, but honestly for the team of BLG, right, as a whole. I mean, they had complete domination in this. It was 8-3 in towers. You had 4 dragons to none. You even had the Baron on top of it. And yeah, it was WE that were taking good advantages early. You see that gold graph representing that, but being able to take those fights in those crucial moments, being able to capitalize on some of the mispositionings that WE was having in those fights is just so good from BLG.
BLG did a tremendous job. They got a little bit lucky with the kill distribution. 4 kills landing onto Zoe early.
The 2 early on, like, holy cow.
Yeah, that was a bit unlucky from BLG's side. And I felt like the Infernal Drake was where they really couldn't contest. In that situation with Zoe already on 404 and with double items complete, even if you take the Infernal Drake, you're not walking away alive. You're going to lose the Baron. So I kind of felt like they had to just it sounds insane, but they had to either just go for steal or continue the 1-3-1. That was not the call to go all in.
I was going to say they did not choose either of those, Clement. They chose to take the fight. Maybe we'll see how that works out for Team WE in game number 2. BLG just trying to keep their hopes alive, trying to keep the dream true for themselves, and they answer with a very, very strong game number 1 for themselves. We'll take a little break and we'll be right back. See what Team WE can muster up.